on their own. But Winter Wyvern with Arctic Burn being percentage-based damage, you can hit the hero like 2 or 3 times and you've already isolated him completely. And then you go into the mid to late game where you're relying on Curse, and Curse can be just the game-winning ability, right? Say a team is pushing your high ground, you get like a 3 or 4 man Curse. How many times do we see that when we were casting Dream League? You know, when Saneko from Na'Vi was playing that hero, it was just completely devastating. So hopefully we can see something similar here from Archon.
And now we're coming up to the 4th ban here from the side of Phoenix, and it's going to be the Dazzle. I mean, Archon, they may have well picked that up. Of course, the Tusk combination, very nice with the Snowball for the heal bomb potential. And I mean, if you've got the Wyvern and the Dazzle on your team, no one's going to be dying.
It's a really good amount of sustain. I think it kind of also says that MVP don't have any intention of picking like an AA, for example, because if you wanted to bring that to the table, you would probably be okay with letting the Dazzle through. And I think that hero is probably going to be seeing a lot more attention just because how a lot of people underrate how good things like Weave actually are in team fights, like just that minus armor or even, you know, putting it on yourself when you want to go for a push. And this is looking to be a pretty standard draft so far, I would say, by this patch's standards from both teams. I mean, Undying, we've seen it a whole heck of a lot. They already have a Bounty Hunter roam, or at least we're assuming it's going to be support or roaming at least right now. And then Undying for the off lane, and we haven't seen what Archon are going to do for their safe lane, but they have ample time to prepare. Like right now, there's not going to be any Seeker, there's not going to be any Spear Breaker. Whatever hero, if they want to do a dual offlane with it Undying, that means that they would have to put Gyrocopter solo at this point. So you can basically just deduce that right now, MVP are probably going to have a solo offlane, which means Team Archon's safe lane shouldn't be too pressured from the looks of things.
Yeah, and of course, picking up the Jara and the Undying, the fact that they're getting that combo, I can imagine in a lot of other drafts, especially that involve CIS teams, you're not going to be getting that Undying at this stage. It would have been banned out a long, long time ago. But the fact that they've got both these heroes and they've got this bounty, it's going to mean when it gets to the mid game, if they can get that Tombstone down, you're looking at Archon's lineup so far. I mean, there are only 2 heroes in, but these guys, I mean, even the Scarf, he is ranged, but they're not the best for taking out the Tombstone. So Phoenix are going to have this potential with the Track Gold to essentially create a lot of chaos that is going to allow them to excel into the latter portions of the game if Archon aren't able to crush the early stages. And of course, with a hero like Tusk, that's probably going to be what they're looking to do.
I believe with the current picks that Archon have right now, they're looking to shut down the lanes.
Yeah.
Like for sure. If this is Skywrath support, which we haven't seen any other Skywrath for a very, very long time. Like before even, I think, like TI4 is when people were running mid Skywrath. But they obviously nerfed Mystic Flare a few times. I think they nerfed it twice. So it went from 1.8 second duration to 2.2 to 2.4. So now the hero just isn't really seen as a core. But as a zoning hero, and for going for a kill, you have Concussive, and then you silence. And then you have Arctic Burn on top of that, and whatever safe lane hero, obviously the Archon pick. That's a very potent kill combination, even for an Undying. So you're going to have to play very, very careful in that lane. And a hero that I don't think MVP Phoenix had gone a game without picking.
This, I mean, we were talking about it before the game, Andy.
Yep.
The record in 6.84 for MVP Phoenix with the Witch Doctor is 10 wins and 1 loss. So this is a hero with a greater than 90% win rate for the team. So if you're getting it through the draft, you got to be feeling pretty confident about this matchup.
I think this is most likely going to be the offlane hero with Undying if they do decide to do a 2-1-2. Now we're still kind of assuming the Bounty Hunter is going to be roaming around a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, I don't think Bounty Hunter is bad at all here. I actually think he's very good, especially if you can get to 6, because once you get track speed, if you look at their heroes, they're all pretty mediocre at chasing, but they all want to kind of chase, right? Like Gyrocopter, you can throw out a Cask, you have Undying, you can chase. Archon with their heroes, they don't really have an avenue of escape, right? Like none of their heroes are mobile at all. And Tusk is a hero who goes in. He can't snowball away. He has to snowball in. So it's a little bit scary for Archon if they don't get their good laning phase.
It's going to be interesting to see what they pick up now as the 4th, as you said, if they are looking to try and crush these lanes of MVP Phoenix. We'll see what they decide to opt for here. And also, to think about what Phoenix's final pick is going to be, it's looking like it will need to be their mid hero. Now, what is kind of left open for them? I mean, looking at what they've been playing in the past, they have actually picked up the TA 4 times in 6.84, and it's a 3-for-1. And looking at what Archon have got, it wouldn't be the worst game to...
Wow,
oh, wow. Now, okay. You don't want to pick it into that, or if you do, you're going to have some fairly big kahunas, but Viper is going to be the pickup.
I do like this pick for the reasons that we just talked about, like TA, obviously not so great against Viper, especially if you are able to get your hands on a pulled sentry at the start of the game. It just means that TA can't really do much of anything because of how good orb walking can be. Now, what they could do, if you're MVP Phoenix right now, is they could look to go back for something like Storm And
Okay.
normally I would say that picking Storm against these types of heroes is risky because Storm still has a rough laning phase.
Yes.
But if you can, okay,
there we go.
never mind.
There we go.
Bamboozled again. Okay, so
Archon are on top of this, yeah.
The only reason I think the Storm is banned is because if you assume that they're gonna try to stop the Storm like before the Undying in the off lane, that just means your Undying is gonna get a lot, right? Because ideally, Team Archon can only pressure one lane at once if you're MVP. So if MVP are losing their off lane, that means they're probably doing okay mid. And plus, they have very little tools to deal with Storm during the super late game. So once he gets like a BKB, for example, then they only have Curse, and then they have Tuskar Punch, which you don't really want to have to do both of those on a BKB hero. But of course, Archon, they're ahead of us a little bit here. They took it out.
Reserve time.
I'm trying to what do you go for here for this final pick for Phoenix?
It's a little bit rough. I mean, if they're comfortable with TA, you could probably still get away with it. But it's going to be a very, very difficult matchup with the Viper, especially considering like during the mid game, you're also going to have Winter Wyvern, Arctic Burn eats the refraction as well. Like it's.
What I know again, it's not great against the Scarab, but there are a fair few heroes that aren't going to be. But what about the Puck?
Puck's actually not bad. Puck can avoid a lot of incoming damage here. The only problem with him is that during teamfights, if he gets silenced, it's a PA. Okay, so they're
gonna guess that one.
They're gonna get a little bit of a lane switch here, I think.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's either gonna be one of two things. It's gonna be a dual lane mid, or the PA is gonna go mid, or it's gonna be gyro mid. Like those are pretty much the choices that MVP have right now.
Yeah, so I mean, so why the PA in this situation?
PA is really good against Team Archon as soon as BKB is out, because their heroes actually have almost no physical damage output, and the one hero that doesn't want to transition into MKB. Now he can go for Silver Edge, right? But that's going to have to be his item, because otherwise evasion decimates Team Archon right now. Like what right click do they have? They have Viper and Tusk, but that's not going to be enough to kill a PA.
I mean, and LC. This is welcome to TI. Gentlemen, a bit of a fun here, fun time. Korok, Legion's gonna mine up cool. Again, well, you're still gonna be get credit if you draw that the old PA. But what do we reckon?
If the Legion can Silver Edge as PA and then duels, it's a pretty easy duel win.
Yes.
And it's not as if MVP Phoenix have a lot of disables. Now they have Witch Doctor cast, but that's pretty much it. They're not going to really be able to stop the duel from Korok, at least in a way that would make him not be able to deal enough damage to kill, right? So then you're going to also have Winter Wyvern, who has great range. The Skywrath Legion Commander combo is something that we've actually seen quite a few times in the past, right? Like before the flare nerfs. But because duel lasts a minimum of, I think, 4 seconds if it's 4.5 at level 1. But you always get the full duration of the flare, no matter what. So it just makes sure that you can utilize that ulti and make sure you get the kills. And against a hero like PA, low strength BKB, that combo is going to kill him every time.
I think that was something I was going to point on as well. We were talking about the fact they want to crush the early laning stage, and we're going to see March heading straight out here to the top lane to get some wards out into the dire jungle. But as you said, if they're able to crush the lanes, you know, Archon are able to get to a point where they're doing really well. PA hasn't managed to get something like a BKB online. They're going to be able to potentially continue to snowball the game, and that was quite literally as well with the Tusk being picked up as well. And Archon are actually going to go for a straight 5-man smoke up here from the base. They knew that the Undying was going to want to get this warding out, and thanks to the TP, in fact, from March, he's been able to do that without being discovered at all if he heads straight back to get the block off. So, all in all, very nice play there from the Undying, getting that vision out straight away.
Is he?
Is he gonna walk?
Is he actually going to run right into him? If he gets snowballed, he's dead. He's so dead.
Oh god, the Undying, he's been spotted under this kill. Ice Shards first to block him in the tree line. He's going to get a very nice 4-man decay off, but it's not going to be enough. March is going to fall down, and that's going to be first blood. They're going to Fox on the Skywrath Mage. And why did he have to walk that way, Andy?
Well, the pathing that they took is pretty bizarre, right? Like, they walked across the river, they walked behind, they were going to go, like, for a dive behind the tier 1. He might have assumed that they were just either going for the rune or maybe even going for some kind of aggressive smoke, but I guess since the rest of the team didn't see him, the safer play, obviously, is to sit by the tower or just sit in the side of the woods, but, of course, hindsight's 20/20.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, also, I want to mention, talking about the Legion Commander, Febby coming up the lane in. He's going to bump into the old MSS and start getting the scout on. We'll see how much Febby wants to try and prioritize sniping the courier. I mean, they're going to know he's there. The Tusk has spotted it out, so they're not going to send the courier out. He's actually just walked into tower range.
Okay.
So they certainly know the bounty's there. So the courier is pretty much safe and sound, and it looks like Fox may even hang around there to be the courier. to help out the Viper if he needs anything delivered. Now he's going to play it safe. And, well, Febby heading towards the mid lane, maybe seeing if he can get a bit of harassment down onto Ush. And just trying to help the lane out here for the PA. I mean, in terms of how the lane matchup goes, is this an alright time for the PA, or is she going to struggle a lot against the Viper? I mean, melee versus a Viper is never a nice lane.
Well, the one thing about PA is, even though she is melee, she has daggers to throw, right? Like, off cooldown, you're going to be throwing daggers for CS. Once you get to level 3 or 5, you can typically get most creep kills, even up against a hero like Viper. The nice thing about PA, too, is she can jump on anyone, right? Like, you have that blink, and you're going to have the stifling dagger. So if you get an Orb of Venom up on Febby, you start hitting them, you throw a dagger. A hero like Viper actually cannot stand and fight that, which is why you see Fog rotating over to mid lane. He realizes that if they go all in on Ush, there is potential that MVP can just straight up kill with a bounty and a PA.
I mean, we've got the Scarf here as well, yeah, pressuring poor old Kyo here on the PA. And top lane, I mean, March, he's been able to get a little bit here. He's trying to do what he can to stop Korok's farm. I mean, it's 7 for 3 at the moment on the Legion, 6 to 1 on the Jara down here. So similar stuff going on both sides, but a lot of focus around this mid lane, just trying to help this PA get this good start. I mean, in terms of lanes, who's going to be happy at this point? Do you still feel the lanes of Archon are just that little bit stronger?
Well, for the time being, Archon are going to be winning top. Mid is pretty much a 50-50, and I'd say if you're PA in this game, trading even is a win. So, I mean, here you're going to see an example of what I mean. Like the Janata, he's going to blink forward, and I think he's just dead.
And he's going to go for it here on Ush, and Ush, he's got a salve. He might need to try and pop it. There's no point now here. They're going to dive, and they're going to get it. Febby should be able to just get out. Wait for the Shadow. No! He is dead. But all in all, certainly worth it picking up that kill there and getting the old Viper there, helping out the PA in the mid lane.
It's kind of hard to anticipate stuff like that because the PA can jump on you from so far away that you just have to play super far back. So I can't even really blame Ush too much for dying there. It's just a matter of maybe not being familiar with like that particular hero duo. Because honestly, how often do we see PA mid, right? It's not very common. So I think after that death, he'll realize the kind of potential that they have, and he'll probably respect the kill potential a little bit more.
And now towards the top lane, we are going to see Febby head up there. There's also Skyrath wrapping around here, Fog with the double damage. And you're going to need to be a little bit careful here, March. He's got the tombstone there, but they want to try and keep it up with Febby getting the hits in, and he's going to drop it straight away. But with Skyrath wrapping around, March getting low, he's got to decay in a couple of seconds. There's not going to be a time. They're going to keep Chell alive as he contemplates himself, stopping Febby from being able to find the kill. Febby turning to Fog, pulling down the Skyrath, and the creeps actually help bring down the Wiper. Korok, the tombstone's going to be enough. They lose the Legion as well. It ends up being a 3 for 2. What a mess of a fight. And well, if you're not able to take down the tombstone quick enough, that's what it's going to do in those kind of engagements.
The one downside to that engagement for MVP is both their heroes were dead by the time the first hero of Archon died. So instead of getting some EXP, they really only got the gold for it.
Yeah.
But still, like a 3 for 2 in that situation was fantastic. Like, no doubt about it, that was a good trade for MVP.
And a lot of chaos so far in that top lane. They're going to head back here. We're seeing both the supports, the Scarf as well, hanging around Korok now, letting Viper have a bit of a free farm time here. In the mid lane, PA, low with a 19 for 6.
She's winning, man.
She's having a great time thanks to that kill that Febby was able to help her get in that situation. And how's the bottom lane looking? We've not really talked much about this bottom lane here with KP and Nuts up against this off-lane Tusk. I mean, MSS so far is hit level 3. I mean, not funny yet. What's the Undying looking like in response? Yeah, he's hit level 4 thanks to that little bit of a fight that went on. So, all in all, the off-lane and this Tusk not really doing a lot on the side of Archon so far.
Well, I think he's just trying to wait it out, you know? Get to level 6. You can start rotating before that if you feel like...
She's in a lot of trouble here. Kyo going forward here. There's going to be the backup of March and Nuts as well. There's no escape for the Viper. That's going to be another kill on this Viper in the mid lane. Now, Viper, of course, one of those heroes, if you do shut him down early, he's not the best comeback king. No,
definitely not. Viper is maybe one of the worst heroes to play from behind because he's typically the team mech carrier as well. You pick that hero for 2 reasons. I want to dominate my lane, and I want to get to mech so we can start doing some 5-man Dota. Like, Archon has pretty good 5-man, I would say, especially once their Skyrath hits 6 and you have that combo with the Legion Command duel into the Mystic Flare. But because of the fact that MVP have picked a mid, it's a bit unconventional, but it has very good aggressive potential, right? So you can jump in anytime. If QO wants to go and he sees Febby there, they're going in.
Febby wants to go for Foxy. He's got Mars. The Tombstone will be dropped. Korok, he's going to be able to heal Fogged up here. Now Korok trying to turn it around. Go for Febby, and he might just get it because the dust was thrown out by the Scarif. They'll bring down the Bounty Hunter. Nuts has rotated in now. Now can they take down Korok? Scarif Mage is still there. Fogged on the sidelines. He's a little bit low. Got to be careful here at the decays. March is going to start diving this with the Tombstone zombies. He might be able to. No, him and Nuts are going to back up. And maybe now Fogged, he's just going to send out the flare hit. Korok. Now he's just going to go back to farming, but all in all, nice reaction there from Archon, keeping Fogged alive and safe and finding a kill and return onto the Bounty Hunter.
That was a really nice play, actually. I think that dust hit him like barely
just
on the edge. Middle.
He's going to go for it, but this time there's backup. Chance there, trying to turn this one around, and now Tusk, MSS, he wants to join the fight. They'll take down the Pierre, they'll look for Febby as well. Tusk is there, they'll get it, but KP coming in with a cooldown. Us is getting low, they'll bring down the Viper. Looks like it's all it's going to be. He's trying to chase down Chan here. Can he find it? Yes, he can, because Nuts is there. The ice shots will hold KP back for a little bit, but not long enough. And they'll pick up a couple, and well, the rotations from both sides there. Fantastic stuff from MVP and Archon. And he went for a 2 for 2, but the fact that KP was able to come in on the jar and clean up, that's got to mean it benefits the side of Phoenix.
Yeah, that was...
it's close. It is very close, though.
I think the fact that the Gyrocopter was the one who ended up getting credit for the kills, maybe it's like barely advantage for MVP. Nothing really huge, though. The nice thing is that KP had enough presence of mind to know that, hey, I got level 4 Rocket Barrage, I got Call Down, I should have a TP. You know, there's going to be a lot of action mid. We know that QO and Febby have been pressuring Uch, so it's common reaction from Archon to try to stop it, and that's exactly what went down, right? So the fact that KP knows that in advance, okay, they're going to prioritize mid because of how much action's been there. I can just be ready for a counter gank, and that's the kind of strength that a Gyro gives you.
And so far, how's Korok doing in terms of farm? Just picking up the treads. They did lose the courier here on the side of Archon for a couple of minutes, so that's going to be a little bit of a downside for the team. Febby still yet to hit that level 6, of course. We're only 7 minutes in. It's going to be that crucial point where the Bounty Hunter is going to be able to make these fights, which overall, as we're saying, is fairly even in terms of gold swing. But if you've got a Bounty with track, suddenly you can't be taking even trades.
The skirmishes are going to start to not favor Archon if they're losing the same amount of heroes even, right? Like the only time I guess you could say an even trade is fine.
Look at this top lane, Korok getting a little bit close. Here comes the cast, the bounce is going to be there, but Maledict is onto him. He's going to look for the TP out, and oh, is he going to be enough? Yes, he should be fine. The damage is not going to be enough for the Maledict, healing up in the fountain there, but a little bit of risky stuff here. Febby coming into the mid lane. Do they want to try and go for Uch? It's going to be hard because Chad is there. We'll have the Cold Embrace available as well, and that's going to be enough to stop any action from a PA and a Bounty Hunter because very much the majority they're relying on physical damage.
Yeah, the Cold Embrace is going to be great during the mid-game if the Winter Wyvern is in good position. That's the one thing about that hero that's so difficult. Winter Wyvern is one of the slowest heroes in the game, right? I think it's like 285 base movement speed. So you're very, very slow, but all your abilities have very long range. So positioning is key. You just need to make sure you're in the back line and ready to throw out that ultimate or your Cold Embrace if your carry is getting jumped on by the PA.
Well, towards the mid lane, we're seeing Archon. They've got 4 heroes here. It is just Febby and QO here on the side of MVP Phoenix. They've got to be careful how far they push up this lane because Chad is ready. MSS actually TPing up to the top lane to join Korok here. Maybe seeing if they can turn the ice shot. They're just going to catch Nuts. The stun will connect, and now with the Warriors punch, bring him low to get the duel. With a heal from March. He's not going to rid the duel. Korok, he might even die. No, he will find the kill on the Witch Doctor, but he's going to pay with his life. They've lost the Tusk as well. A 2 for 1, and that is, of course, with no one winning the duel there. So, again, I've got to say, MVP's play has been fantastic in reaction to what Archon have tried to do every time. Uch has now come in on the Viper. But I don't think you want to fight this. There's still people chasing this down. Duo is going to go straight forward onto Fog. This time the Cold Embrace will be there to help him for the time being, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Febby getting the slow on touch. They'll blow up the Scarif Nation. They want more. There's 4 heroes here. Archon, they need to get the hell out of there. Uch getting low. He's going to go down. It's going to be a killing spree for KP here on the Gyrocopter. And this is going to be the point of the game. It's getting a little bit scary. Febby, he is close to the level 6, getting that track online. And this time the fight heavily benefiting MVP Phoenix.
MSS just bailed on the duel. Like, he just ran away. I don't know if he was expecting the Soul Rip coming out from March, but that definitely just turned the fight completely. Because maybe if the Soul Rip doesn't come out, they kill the Witch Doctor fast enough to just run away. But instead, the entirety of MVP reacts. They realize if the PA is there, their chasing potential is almost unlimited. Stifling Dagger only has a 6-second cooldown, and you can just keep spamming it and your team gets closer every single time. And then with Gyrocopter's rundown potential with Rocket Barrage, you can chase across the entire map. Imagine how much worse it's going to be for Archon when that track comes out. Then you're just going to be getting chased forever. There's no way you're going to be able to run. Between PA Stifling Dagger and Track Vision, you can't get away. So they need to keep that in mind. The next few engagements, they need to be 100% sure that they're going to be able to get their kills.
And it really feels like this point as well. They're going to push this middle tower, take it. No reaction from Archon, because I think if they can fight 5-on-5, it's going to be very hard for them to take an engagement.
With cooldown, it's pretty difficult to fight into, and the Witch Doctor also has to get up the Death Ward as well. Like right now, Nuts, I think he's like, yeah, he's 100 experience away from 6. And right now, MVP are just taking their time. They're pushing in the tier 1. They've already gotten the tier 1 mid and the tier 1 safe lane at just 10 minutes in. So I'd say for now, they definitely have the majority of map control, and Archon are going to have to make a pretty good play.
Indeed, behind the sustain, of course, there with Nuts as well. With the good old Voodoo Restoration, Febby just keeping tabs on anyone that wants to dare come down here. MSS hiding up in the high ground. He's level 7. Ground boots, 900 gold. Didn't really find a lot from that offlane. We're 11 minutes in. I mean, this certainly is MVP sticking to the game plan. You can tell that when they pick this job, this is the kind of playstyle they wanted to go for.
Well, it feels the way that Archon back, as the majority of MVP are now making their way towards their own bottom tier 1. But Korok was showing in lane that entire time, and they saw MSS TP back, so they knew they could push to tier 2, because not everyone was there, and Febby, he is almost going to get caught here. They double sentry as well.
That's unfortunate indeed, and it's unfortunately going to be to waste there. Sentries have been popped down quite a lot. The warding's not been too bad here from Archon. They've got a fair bit of vision of the Radiant jungle, but it doesn't really matter when they're not in their own jungle and they're pressuring the lane, which is exactly what MVP are doing here. Zoning back the side of Archon, creating the space to take yet another tower. And they may even look to just continue here for the tier 2 on this bottom lane.
I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing they need to be wary of, though, if you're MVP, is Bog is now 6. Now, the Winter Wyvern Chad, he's still level 5, but you cannot underestimate the damage number that they have. If you get dueled into a flare, you're probably still going to die at this stage in the game. Now, QO is going directly for BKB. I think this is the 100% item build. Like, you absolutely need BKB against this combo, because you are going to be most of the time the primary target, if not the gyro. But you're also easier to get to because you're melee, and they're assuming you're going to be jumping in, right? So I love the fact that QO is going this build. And the other thing, too, for Archon, Chad.
He's got no mana! Chad. Oh, nice! Oh, yeah, that's the corner. Eventually, look it down, the cooldown, the Death Ward. Korok's going to fly down there to a crit from the dagger. And now Us is in trouble as well. This initiation range they've got potential with the track and the dagger from PA. You just cannot come near this lineup because you're just going to die.
They're getting punished so hard every single time they're even a little bit out of position. Like, Chad wasn't even on the high ground behind the tier 2. He was just standing there, waiting it out. There was a ward that got him spotted. He got jumped on, and they saw that he had no mana. He was like, he's got enough mana for maybe one spell, right? And then he's dead. And plus, he's still not level 6. It's 13 minutes in.
Oh,
he still needs 200 experience.
And just look, we've got to get the net worth up on this one. A 7.3k net worth on your Gyro.
Yeah.
Is he just bought it? I was going to say he's got enough. With 13 minutes in, he's got a BKB, complete on top of the phase boots and Aquila. How do you fight this map?
I'm kind of wondering that myself. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at Archon's team. Now, their transition into mid-game is hoping that Korok can kind of snowball off of dual wins because of the Skywrath, right? And that's their game plan. Like, okay, we get our Legion Commander really farm. He does all our physical damage for us. Our Viper is our mech carrier, but it's 14 minutes in, and this Viper doesn't even have half of his mech. Okay, he actually has more than half, but the real problem that Archon are running into is their heroes have a timing that they still have not hit. And these heroes are not good late bloomers. Like we talked about Viper and his not really good from playing from behind and Legion Commander needing to snowball. None of those things are happening right now. So their last line of defense is hoping, for whatever reason, that MVP try to push high ground maybe a little bit too early when your Winter Wyvern now finally has that curse available. That is kind of the game-changing ability right now, is that curse maybe into like a Mystic Flare or a duel into a Mystic Flare.
And this is a very nice bit of warning here, of course, from Phoenix. They can see exactly this from MSS and Chad coming in. And it's going to be, it just feels very hard for the side of Archon to do much at the moment. Let's have a look at the actual graphs, in fact. What kind of differences are we seeing? XP, not so much, because we've seen he's been continuing to farm here to keep the pace up, but it's the net worth that really shows. Coming up to 10k, 14 minutes in. Thanks to these towers and the kills that they've managed to find. And now the track kills as well. We saw a couple in that fight down there early on. Korok's coming up to 2.1k gold. I mean, the question is, Does he still go for a Blink Dagger? At this point, the Blink Initiation isn't going to do that much for you. You need to think about building something that's going to help you sustain like a BKB.
I think Blink might be one of the only options just because how else are they going to be able to catch it anymore? Like, how do you
But there
start a
always is a
fight?
fight. How do you jump into that?
But this is, you have to ask these questions. That's when you start to say to yourself, they're just so far behind. Because it's not just one item that's going to win it for you, right? You need like minimum 2 or 3. And it's 15 minutes in and you don't have an outer tier tower left. Like your map control is just gone. And MVP have also placed aggressive wards inside of the woods of Archon as well. And they can still go back and try to do Roshan. Now if Archon aren't defending a tier 2, there's no way they're going to fight Rosh. Just realize how far behind they actually are. And MSS is going to be
The missile he's going to have the Snow Blitz and maybe try and do something in response, but you're not killing anyone. Nuts is here with the restoration. He's going to get a Horus Punch onto QI. Now with the Winter's Curse, trying to do this, but he just takes no damage. A couple of slaps to the man, but they've already got a bit of restoration on, so the physical damage the Chad trying to turn on himself isn't doing anything. He's going to get caught and brace himself, but there's the Rocket Barrage, there's the cooldown. Your Cold Embrace isn't going to help you against that magical damage. They lose 2 heroes on Archon. They can't do anything against the lineup of MVP. And it's starting to look a little bit one-sided here, Andy.
They know their timing so well. MVP had a perfect idea throughout this entire game of what they could get away with at what particular point in time. Like, they TP every hero top to save a Witch Doctor because they know, I mean, the Witch Doctor still died, but they got the tower, and they know they can just chase forever. And Archon, because of the fact that they put that Viper mid, like, sure, he's got a lot of CS, but the PA is a much bigger problem right now than the Viper, if you look at each hero respectively, because QO has BKB now. He can just jump on whoever the hell he wants. It doesn't matter. They don't have the Silver Edge. They don't have any way of bypassing the bait.
They're looking for a player that, I mean, maybe this is the player, desperation play. They've got to try and find some smoke, and I'm moving towards the pit. Chapman's gone. They know that fucking Roshan going to do anything about this, but no, KP gets on the call out, pops the BKB. Clock will get a successful kill on the War Doctor. With KP now on the heavy field too. He's still fighting in the pit. He'll get a fighting strike onto KP, but it doesn't matter. He's marching Q and joining forces to take down the Tusk, and now they just turn onto Archie, trying to desperately do something, sitting there, slapping away at QO. It doesn't matter. The PA is poisoned up, but he's still going to live there. 4 heroes dying on the side of Archon. They only use the Witch. I'll make that 5. It's a triple kill for QO. 20-9. What are you going to do as Archon at this point? This really couldn't get any worse for the side.
I think if they had Winter's Curse for that, it could have been a little bit different, because Chad goes in, he buys himself a little bit of time by casting the Cold Embrace on himself to try to go for an Aegis steal, but KP was just on top of it. Like, he got it immediately, and I'm pretty sure Chad might have even died before the Gyrocopter went down anyway, so yeah. I understand why you fight that as Archon, because you're looking at it in the sense that if we can't win a fight and try to get something big back, then there's like very little chance we're going to be able to get map control any other way. Like, we have to fight at Roshan because that's our best odds outside of fighting at a tier 3. The only problem is the fight was pretty catastrophic. Like, they didn't kill anyone.
At the least.
They got the Aegis, but that's not like a 5-man wipe for an Aegis when you're already behind. It's not a worthwhile trade.
There we go. They are coming into the jungle. Oh, they're going to try and kick anything off. Febby scanning this out. We're going to note that Febby, 18 minutes in, he's got Guardian Greaves complete. They're just blinking away now as well. They really don't. They're terrified of QO.
I think he just wants to go.
So. He's just going to jump straight in, going on to Fox here. And with the Ice Charge, they're creating that physical barrier. And now QO's just going to chase it down. But with the War's Punch, the War Punch over that community doesn't matter. QO finds the square. He's got the Korok they're jumping for. They're going to have the Cold Embrace. But again, the damage is just too much there with the Mantle flying through. Everyone's being trapped up. Archon, they're trying to get themselves back to the base. QR held in place, in fact, by the Winter's Curse. Maybe they could get no, the Soul Rip, and he blinks away. No one dying on the side of MVP. Archon, they're 2 heroes down, and War's punching his own out of frustration there, MSS, because at this point, I think your options are incredibly limited.
Your options are trying to defend your high ground. Those are your options. You're not going to be smoking if MVP is right outside your base. So you have to sit here, you have to wait for MVP to maybe overextend. The crazy part about QO right now is that a lot of PAs will go 4-1-4, right? They'll max out their evasion. But QO, realizing how far ahead they actually are, is just max blink. Like, he just wants the most chase potential that he can get, realizing that that track hold is going to put his team incredibly far ahead. Now, Archon's showing right now that they do have very good spam. They can push MVP back, even in a situation where I would say pretty much every early game engagement, barring finding March inside of the woods and maybe getting like 1 or 2 counter kills in top lane, it's just been all MVP. Like, they've just won every single team fight.
There we go. Tombstone's drop. They're ready to fight, and I don't know if Archon are. I'm going to throw the ice shells onto Kyo, but Kyo again just Phantom striking back out. We'll be able to take down the Tombstone. And that might hold MVP off for the time being. But I mean, still, what's this time going to buy you? MVP are just going to look to clear up the dire jungle, continue to find the farm, continue to keep himself on top of Archon. Looking at the grass now, it's starting to look a little bit more horrific if you are an Archon fanboy or girl. It's 10k lead in terms of XP. Gold-wise, it's almost coming up to the 20,000 net worth difference between the teams.
I'm thinking right now, Archon's options, like, if MVP continue assuming full map control, like sitting inside of your own woods and farming, the best play typically is to run to the opposite side of the map, which is basically what Archon are doing right now, and they can try to farm the enemy woods. But, like, they're kind of lacking in vision at the moment. Like, they can see their own woods, but oftentimes when you ward your own woods, you run into the situation where you already know where MVP are most of the time. If you don't have any towers, they're going to be on your side of the map because they want to constrict your movement, right? They want to make sure you can't go out of base. So sometimes those wards don't really do too much for you right now. It's kind of like deceptive having that vision. And looks like MVP are looking to try to go back to once again.
So Tombstone's trying to buy some time for Overture. He's going to be able to take down this, and that's a nice one to conversion. Here's the combo to the sky. But it's going on. Creo gets the BKB off, and he's Pimicate up as well. But he's trading onto the ball. They'll take that one, and look at it go! The Death Ward is destroying them all. Corrupt's going to fall as well. Viper will buy back, and he is there in the fight, but he's being trapped up. I think this could be Undying again for the second time in this team fight. He's certainly going to get a buyback from the Winter White. It doesn't matter. GG is called and ends with a triple kill here for QO. 28-9. MVP will take the first game of this best of 3 series, and I've got to say that was almost a flawless performance there from the Ravens.
They just put on a clinic. Honestly, I would say that PA pick was a stroke of genius coming out from MVP. That was such a good pick. When I saw the Storm ban, I was thinking, like, what other hero kind of brings the same thing?